Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to Farm Stress Real Talk with Penn State Extension. Here we focus on stressors and resources for the agricultural community. My name is Jill Varner, and I'm a food, families, and communities educator based in Erie County. Today, I'm happy to be talking with Daniel Brockett, who is the leader of the Extension Energy team. Hi, Daniel. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jill. I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the team and the initiatives that you lead with Penn State Extension.
Yeah, so Jill, first of all, I've been in extension for about 150 years. I started my I started my career as a county-based 4-H educator, and I enjoyed that very much. And I've had the chance to kind of move in my career to other places. So right now, our Penn State Energy team, I'm very excited about what we're doing, and it's looking at energy sources and how that affects agriculture and community and personal finances too. There's a lot of controversy, but a lot of innovation and a lot of opportunity involved. So we're happy to try to provide unbiased resources towards farmers, landowners, townships, even state officials to try to make this work for the best case they can. Right. So always something new, always something exciting. What I'm teaching now will probably be irrelevant in a year. How about that?
Well, thank you for the introduction, a little bit of an explanation there, because that's a wonderful segue into kind of my next question. So, in providing some resources and some information, really looking at energy in the agricultural community, what kind of stressors do you see in your work with the agricultural community?
Yeah, so Jill, I've been involved with production, agriculture, and farming since I was a young child. I grew up on a small family farm, have family members who were in dairy and veterinary medicine and all kinds of things, and a whole lot of friends who try to make their living from a farm. The stressors are similar to anything else in that if you get too many things at once, there's that overwhelm quotient that kicks in and says, hey, I have too many things. I've got 50 problems here today. Which do I solve first? On the farm, that's different because, you know, I get most weekends off, right? I get to walk away from my job. On the farm, I don't. Okay. So it's there. It's for you all the time. And there's some of those stressors that are way out of your control, right? So commodity market pricing it can be a huge stressor on farms. Weather can be a huge stressor on farms. I just talked to a farmer friend of mine. He's trying to get corn and soybeans planted. He's way behind weather.
Yeah.
And then he's further behind because he has some equipment malfunction.
Mm.
Frustrating to him. This equipment is new. He's working on it. And in the meantime, there's this go time of year right now for folks who are planting crops. And he feels like everything should be in and done. Now, when you combine that with some financial stress and a lot of things on your plate to get done, it can really get stressful for you. I see this occur many times where we have price issues, and then you combine those with equipment breakdowns or
Mm.
weather issues and so forth. When all
Yeah.
of those things hit you at the same time, just like any of us, it's hard not to explode, right?
Right, absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out too, because sometimes people tend to talk about stress and they kind of, I don't know, almost put it in a silo, if you will, right? But really, in the reality of the situation is when, especially people in our ag community are facing stressors, they are exactly stressors. There's more than one thing that's kind of coming in and happening at once.
Yeah, you bet. So what I see occur a lot is when we're working really long hours and when we have a lot of things going happening at the same time. And then if I knock on their door and say, "Hey, Jill, you should really look into the REAP program to start generating some energy on your farm," I, I need to be aware as someone who works with agriculture. this probably isn't the best time of year to approach a farmer and say, hey, have you considered this or this or this? Some of the stress then also comes from the complications of modern life, right? The
Yeah.
bureaucracy, the technology that's involved in maybe filling out the application or sitting down to do the math this time of year. So think about this. I might be facing some financial stress. There may be a path to mitigate that a little bit, but I don't have time to follow that path, maybe do the math and do the paperwork and those sorts of things. So that creates a spiral effect, doesn't it? I have a problem, but I'm so busy working on that problem that I don't have a chance to step back and help mitigate that problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll
Well,
combine that, by the
oh,
way,
go ahead.
with you know, some of us are not great at sharing the burden, right?
Hmm.
So, and in fact, the opposite might be true that we might be snapping at our family and friends, and
Yeah,
so we're stressed, right? And so
yeah,
instead of sharing that burden, we add to it by maybe making everyone frustrated with us, right?
right. Absolutely. Sometimes it seems to be the human nature in us, right?
You bet, you bet.
Well, what kind of specific maybe programs or resources does your team have that could potentially help somebody in our ag community?
Well, what we're looking at, we're the intersection of agriculture and energy come together. It's 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 not always helpful to farmers. Sometimes they feel threatened by it. Okay. If I am leasing nearby ground for farm operations, and then a large scale solar developer stops by and says, we'd like to lease it, and we're going to offer a lot more money than the non-tenant farmer, that adds to the stress, right?
Right.
Acreage can be a premium in some communities where I need that. And let me clarify this for folks who may not understand this point. It, if I need to buy products as input for my farm, say I'm a dairy farmer, beef farmer, I need to buy some feed inputs, right? Some of those inputs I can purchase from a long way from here, right? But forages, which are heavy, have a lot of moisture to them, I got to get that close by. So that's why that could be a potential stress if I'm losing acreage, right?
Right.
On the other side of that, we see great opportunity for farms who are able to maybe lease a portion of that ground, get some income coming in, and that in that case, those arrays are really passive income, and the farmer isn't using that energy source. They're more like a landlord who is collecting a check from that.
Okay.
That's not guaranteed money. That's an option. They may or may not build that. Our team
Right.
estimates only maybe 10% of these things will get built, but there's that opportunity for it, right?
Right.
On
Right.
the other side, we have kind of on the farm energy resources that can be developed. There's a lot of federal incentives out there right now for developing on-farm resources, biodigesters, solar, wind, etc. Right?
Okay.
Those things can be developed. So if somebody has, barn roofs and even ground-mounted arrays, uh, it's a time to look at can you really reduce your energy bill? And those energy bills on a lot of
Oh,
farms are a big portion of the expense of a farm, right?
okay.
On most farms I look at, usually feed is number one, and number two is oftentimes the energy cost, right?
Yeah.
Um, so if they can reduce some of that energy cost, that's great. Uh, it, but as I mentioned at the
Oh,
top, um, there's some paperwork to go through on that.
yeah.
There's not always an immediate return. Things don't happen as quick. So you really have to give yourself some time, buckle in, and complete that paperwork to make that happen, right?
Okay. All right. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. You even, I learned a little something today too. I tend to think of energy and just kind of naturally just gravitate towards solar. But to hear that there's other aspects to that and really cutting down some of the financial burden on our farmers is huge. So very neat. Thank you for sharing that. Do you maybe have any potential success stories from you or from your team in working with any farmers or any of our ag community?
Sure do, sure do. So
Good.
when you're on the farm and you're thinking about developing energy resources, you have to pay attention to both aspects of that, right? So sometimes I hear a lot of farms say, "Hey, my prime acreage, I need this," but at the same time, they may have an incredible opportunity to lease that. The prices we're hearing, Jill, between $1,000 up to $3,000 per acre per year for leasing. Okay. Now, this doesn't offset anyone's energy bill. This is a pure lease. I can't grow a legal crop in Pennsylvania for that amount of money. And that's a net profit, right? Before taxes, but it's a net profit. And so I have to balance those two things. How do I keep my farm operation alive while still taking advantage of this tremendous opportunity? In some cases, what we're seeing are those farms are able to dictate where that project will occur so that they can do both and have that income to offset their farming operations. In a couple cases in particular, I know we have some farms that have been using reclaimed strip mine, which is not their prime ground. They've signed leases to be able to lease that acreage, and that's really a Goldilocks moment for them to be able to say, "Hey,
Yeah,
we can use this land over here that's a little more marginal, right?
yeah.
Generate some income while continuing our farm operations over here." For those of you who are listening, by the way, I'm gesturing and I don't know why. So, right?
Because we're talking to people and that's what we do. We
Yeah,
like to move when we're talking, right?
sure, sure.
Well, if somebody listening to this podcast is thinking, hey, maybe there's some opportunities for me, would you let our listeners know how they would be able to contact you or somebody on your team to maybe get a little bit more information?
Sure, sure, Jill. And so we have a list serve that we have set up, and anybody on our team, anybody can send that to our team, and then anybody on our team can respond to that. That really makes it nice because if I'm out of office for a couple days, someone else is there. If they're out, I'm there, et cetera, et cetera. So we can use that, but you can use my phone if that's the most direct one too, which is easy to access. It's my cell phone. It rings through to my cell phone, and I keep it night and day and weekends and holidays and so forth. So we want people to be able to really have access, especially when they have an important decision in front of them that could really have a long-lasting effect on their farm and their family and their mental health too, right?
Yeah.
Give us a call. We're going to help you sort that out. We aren't selling anything except some good information, so you can count your best interest in mind, right?
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Daniel, and thank you for taking the time to explain not only to our viewers, but I mean to me myself, I definitely learned some things with our conversation today about some of the offerings and how the energy team has went in and helped people and maybe given some farmers even different options that they didn't know might be out there and available for them. So are there any final words before we end
Yeah,
our
just
podcast
just
today?
just a final thing, Jill, I mentioned up front. I think a lot of folks who run their own business, and particularly on the farm, hesitate to reach out and ask for help or ask for someone to talk to, right? And just flat out, that's not healthy when we're under stress. Okay, it's
Yeah.
just not. And I know for myself, when I'm feeling under stress, it's great to be able to talk to folks, talk through those problems, and just that act of expressing that frustration, expressing that stress, it really clears a lot of things from a heavy heart and a heavy mind, right?
Yeah.
So when folks have those moments, please reach out to us, reach out to others. It you don't have to do this by yourself, right? And having more information always leads to better decision making. So
Yeah.
just want to encourage folks out there to really reach out to us on energy issues, but just reach out to anybody when you're feeling that overwhelmed feeling, when you're feeling too many things at once, et cetera, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I don't think I could have said that better myself. Thank you for sharing. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for taking a couple minutes today and tuning into our Farm Stress Real Talk with Penn State Extension podcast. For information, potentially about from our energy team or from any of our units here at Penn State Extension, please log on to extension.psu.edu and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Jill.